Hi friends, happy Friday. Welcome back to Math Today. Today for math, you will need your two math activity sheets in your packet for today. One of them is titled Ways to Make 8, and the other one is Ways to Make 9. You will also need something different that we haven't used yet, at least for math, some scissors, glue, and a pencil. So go ahead, pause the video, and grab the materials that you need. All right, friends, welcome back. Today we're going to practice showing different ways to make numbers 8 and 9. So your learning target says, I can show different ways to make numbers 8 and 9. We've practiced this before in all different ways, especially every day during calendar book. You practice showing numbers in different ways. One of the ways is using these guys right here. What are these called? Tally marks, that's right. Our tally marks help us count quicker than by ones. We can make tally marks in groups of 5. So we always group them and we say 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more to shut the door is 5, right? We also call it closing the gate. So right here I have 5, 6, 7, 8 tally marks. That's one way I can show that number. If I want to show 9, I just do one more standing tall. We also have this resource right here that we've been using to practice showing our numbers. What is this resource called? That's right, a 10 frame. We know it's a 10 frame because there are 10 boxes. And right now, do you know how many counters are inside my 10 frame? If you said 9, that means you just subitized that 10 frame. That means you were able to look at it and your brain knew it right away because there's one box that does not have a counter in it. So we can show our number using a 10 frame. If I want to show 8, I just take one away, and now I have 2 blank boxes, and right away I can see that, yep, I have 8 counters in that 10 frame. We can also show our numbers using pictures. These are some apples that I drew. Let's count to see how many there are. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can show our number using a picture. If I want to do 9, I just draw one more apple with a stem. And now I just showed that I know how to make a 9 by drawing a picture. We also use this resource right here. What is this resource called? A number line, right? So let's count up to our number 8 and then 9 as we did before, starting with 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9. Which number is less? 8. 8 is less than 9 because 8 comes before 9. If your grandma says, oh, you can have 8 cookies and your brother gets 9, that means you have less cookies on your plate than your brother, right? Also, you have your 8th birthday before you turn 9, right? So when you're 8, you're younger. When you're 9, you get bigger and older. Okay, we can also show those numbers with our fingers. So show me 8 on your fingers. You can make 8 with 5 and 3. You can make 8 with 4 and 4. Okay, good. Show me the number 9 on your fingers. So you have 5 and 4. You could also do what we call a turnaround fact and show 4 and 5. That also makes 9. So we're going to show different ways to make both of those numbers, numbers 8 and number 9. I'm only going to work on number 8 with you with cutting and pasting, and then you're going to do number 9 on your own. By then you should know what to do, but I'll talk about it, and then this is the paper that you'll post to your teacher's Google Classroom. Okay, so we're going to start with number 8. Ways to make 8. So the first thing that we're going to do is practice tracing our numbers. They give us the dotted 8s across the top, and they give us 5 of them. So we're going to trace our 8s and say our 8 rhyme as we do it to make sure we're forming it the correct way. Ready? Here we go. First an S, but do not wait. Go back up and close the gate. That's the way to make an 8. First an S, but do not wait. Go back up and close the gate. That's the way to make an 8. First an S, but do not wait. Go back up and close the gate. That's the way to make an 8. First an S, but do not wait. Go back up and close the gate. That's the way to make an 8. One more. First an S, but do not wait. Go back up and close the gate. That's the way to make an 8. Good. Now we're going to use our pencil to show that we know 8 in other ways. So first let's count our tally marks to 8. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh yes, this definitely has 8 right here. Let's double check by tracing. Let's make our tally marks and write on top. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, so I know this is one way to make 8, showing tally marks. So this is one of the squares in just a moment, not yet, that we'll cut out, and we're going to glue into this box right here to show that this is one of the ways to show 8. Now, let's count the little candies inside of the jar and see if there are 8 of them. We're just going to count and mark them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 candies in the jar. So since there are 8 candies in the jar, we will cut this square out in a moment and glue it into our box to show this is another way that we're showing 8. Now we're going to count the Unifix cubes. We're going to start at the very bottom. We're going to have to mark out really, really tiny, okay, as we count to see if there's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Are there 8 cubes? No. So let's mark an X on it so we know we're not going to cut that square out and glue it up here. That shows us 10. Now let's look at our 10 frame. We want to see if there are 10 apples inside of there. Ooh, right away though, we can subitize and see that across the top there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is another one that gets an X because we're not going to show 8 using that 10 frame. Now we have what we call a domino. Let's mark out the dots on the domino to see if there are 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8, so this is another box that we'll use up here to show 8. And then right here, what do we have? A 10 frame. It looks like in this 10 frame we have all 5 filled across the top and 3 extras at the bottom, leaving 2 boxes open, which means there are how many altogether? 8. So this is another way that we are going to show 8 and cut and paste it into our box, okay? So right here we have a square. Inside of it there are 1, 2, 3, 4 squares, which means that down here when we counted to show 8, we should have 4 squares that have different ways to show 8. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we're going to do is use our scissors to cut along the dashed line. So I'm going to show you some tricks. I want you to follow along with me, okay? So when we're using our scissors, we like to think of our scissors as alligators. So this is the alligator's eyeball, and this is the alligator's jaw. When you're using your scissors, you're going to start with a thumbs up. You're going to take that thumbs up and stick it into the alligator's eyeball, okay? Then you're going to take 3 fingers and stick them into the alligator's jaw. Now, when your alligator eats, it likes to only eat paper. So, in order for you to stay safe from your alligator, you never turn your scissors towards your body. Your alligator scissors, he always eats away from your body, which means that you're going to be turning your paper as you cut so that the alligator faces away from your body. Away from your body. Can you say that with me? Away from your body. Okay? So, your alligator only likes to eat the dashed lines, the dotted lines. We are, though, going to cut out across the bottom to make our paper nice and even, one long strip. So I'm actually going to cut the solid line so that I have room for cutting out something nice and even on my paper here. Okay, so when I use my alligator, I close and open his mouth by moving the eyeball up and down with my thumb. Okay, now I have my strip. So now we want to make our squares look nice and even so that they fit nicely inside of our squares here, okay? So I am going to cut out one long strip along the dashed line. He's going to chomp, 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 eat all the way. Notice how my other hand's holding my paper, and then if my alligator gets too far away from me, I just keep moving my hand up the paper, and then whoop, I just have one piece of scrap paper. I don't have a bunch of little papers all chopped up. And then I'm going to turn it to the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing, cut one long strip. Now, I probably should have said this before, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it now. You should not be using scissors at your house unless an adult is sitting there with you, okay? So only use your scissors when there's an adult with you, okay? All right, so now I have two long strips of scrap paper. I don't have a bunch of tiny strips. And now let's count how many squares again I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But how many do we need to show 8? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know that the ones with the X's are the ones I'm going to set aside. But now I'm all ready to go. So I'm going to cut along the dashed line here 1. And along the dashed line here 2. And when I'm cutting them out, I'm making a nice little pile on top of my activity sheet so I don't lose them. I'm going to cut another one out. And my next one. Notice I'm still eating along the dashed line. That alligator eats that dashed line. Okay, so now I've cut out all of my squares, and I have them nice and neatly close by on top of my activity sheet so that I don't lose them. Now I'm going to go through them and start gluing them onto my square. Okay, so I see this is the one that I have on top, and I see that this definitely is one of the cards that shows 8. So I'm going to take my glue stick. I'm going to spin or twist and pull to take the glue lid off. And then I don't need a ton of glue. That's way too much. If my glue is too low, to get more, I just spin the bottom just a little bit. And then there's just enough. And then I don't need a lot of glue for it to stick, but I do need to push to make sure that it does feel sticky. So on the back of my first square, I'm going to do swirl, swirl, swirl. See how I have just one little circle, but I pushed hard. You can see it. And then I'm going to flip this guy over, and I'm going to align him right here with my first square. Notice I didn't turn it sideways like this, because then there's parts hanging out. It's kind of like a puzzle. So I'm going to put it right inside that first square there. And I'm going to push it down, smoosh with my hand to make sure it sticks. Okay? And then I have my next one, and I see, oh, yep, there's for sure 8. So this one gets some glue, so I'm going to smush, 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 smush. Flip it over and put it on my next square. Like a puzzle. And notice, dun, da, 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 my 5 across the top are filled in and 3 across the bottom. If you do it the other way, then it's upside down. Okay? All right, and my pile, oop, this is an X, so I'm not going to glue it. This is an X, I'm not going to glue it. This one has 8, so I'm going to swirl, swirl, swirl to put some glue on the back of it. Swirl, swirl, swirl. And then I'm going to glue it into the next box. Smoosh, smoosh, smoosh. And then this guy also shows 8, so I'm going to swirl, swirl, swirl. And then I'm going to smoosh it into that last box right there. And notice again, this guy's not upside down or backwards. I know that because I make my group of 5 before I have extras. So now I've showed different ways to make the number 8 with a domino, with some candies, with a tin frame, and with some tallies. Okay? If any of that was too fast for you, make sure to have the adult that's working with you rewind to where you need to go and pause the video. If you are ready to move along, this is your activity sheet that you're going to complete on your own and show different ways to make 9. Okay? So first, you're going to trace your 9s. So say it with me. First, trace your 9s. First, trace your 9s. Then you're going to come down here and you're going to see which pictures show 9. So in this first picture, I can already tell they're trying to show a number with their fingers. But do you see 9 fingers sticking up? Me neither. So right away, I know that, I'm going to put an X on that box. Okay? And then in the next picture, they want us to count the number of pepperonis on the pizza. So what do you need to do in order to show that you've counted? Count and mark out. So let me get my clipboard here. So you'll count and mark out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oop. Shows 9 pepperonis. So this guy will get cut out and glued to my box. That's one of the ways I can show 9. Okay, I'm going to do the same for the rest of these. Whichever pictures show 9 are the pictures you're going to cut out and glue. Whichever pictures do not are the pictures you're just going to set aside. Okay, so count, cut, glue. Count, cut, glue. Count, cut, glue. Remember, 4 ways will be correct. 2 of them will have X's that say, this doesn't show 9. Okay, but look, you're also going to have to mark out really, really small while you count. So do the best you can. I know you guys are such smarty patardies and you are going to rock it out. So keep up the great work. I will see you next week for your next math lesson. We're getting so close to our number 10. Woohoo! Have a great weekend, friends.